Future Proof podcast. I'm Brian Pritchard. This is a place where we talk to business owners and entrepreneurs about the journey, about where they've been, where they are now, and where they're trying to go. I'm very, very excited to have a special guest. My friend Kristen Eiermann is here from Howard Hanna. And good morning, Kristen. So nice to have you.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So yeah, I've known you for a while. Our BNI local networking world's certainly been more than a decade at this point. And I was thinking this morning that you're like, Coke Pepsi level within your world and brand to me, right? Like you are the premium experience realtor, right? And I was thinking about, I don't even remember where I first heard the quote where it's like, Coca-Cola or whoever spends the most money on advertising, even though they're already number one, and they do it so that they can stay number one, right? And I was thinking about how your work ethic to me has that feeling to it, right? Of going, despite having secured what I perceive as a position at the top of being really successful, you work really hard and roll your sleeves up. And that's been a through line as well, is that you're the real deal. So I don't know that there's a question in there, but I'll just start off with a compliment.
Oh, thank you. That's really sweet. So the truth is that there is, I still, as of now, don't have an administrative assistant. I do all my paperwork. I return all my own calls. I do all of that stuff myself. I really do probably need to pass some of that on because there is a lot of it. But there is an element of connection that I like to have with my clients that I think that if I don't continue that through the whole transaction and I don't have my hands sort of controlling the transaction to keep it together and to keep everything going smoothly, the best compliment I get from clients is, well, that was really easy. And I'm like, well, maybe for you, but that's the idea. The idea is that I'm on the back end doing a million things that you don't know I'm doing, right? So there's that piece of it, and sort of, handling the paperwork and, subtle negotiations that are you don't even know are happening, sort of, on your behalf. Um, uh, well, don't just assume this is going to happen. I will take it to my seller and ask them if that's going to happen, just, trying to keep things, where people don't just jump in and do anything that they want to do. So there's that piece, but then the rolling up your sleeves, literally, I still do a lot of my own staging. I mean, I do have a team for that where they help me move furniture and stuff, but I'm definitely there in the trenches, moving and hanging and, measuring how high the picture should hang and all that kind of stuff too. So I do. But what's fun about that is my job gets to be different every single day, which I like. So it works out for me too.
Well, yeah, no, and there's that term that you hear as far as white glove service and stuff like that. But it's something that, to your point, it's like you're not necessarily always calling a lot of attention to it, but it is taking place, and it is part of what creates the premium experience and has elevated your work, And I do want to dive back and get some background, Tell me about. I know the origin story and remember it from our one-to-ones, but I would love for you to share how you got started and got into it.
So my formal education is as a teacher. I'm high school English, elementary, and a reading and literacy specialist of sorts. And so that was what I was doing. And the first thing I did, by the time I was 24, I was a landlord. The first home I ever bought was a Lakewood double. And I bought I bought the Lakewood double and lived in half. And then I was teaching in Lorraine. and there was something that came up that said that teachers, police officers, and firefighters could buy HUD homes for half price. So best believe I had one within a month. And I moved my Lakewood double into one of those, and I moved in right before the summer started. And this was embarrassingly like before you could just look these things up on the internet, probably before YouTube. Because I do remember going to Home Depot to take a class on how to lay ceramic tile. I do remember figuring out how to um, hang cabinets. Demo is easy, right? But to figure out how to hang cabinets, I remember creating this like system where I had it, had to prop it up on a million things stacked on top of each other to get it just so that I could, hold it and screw it in because you only have two hands, right? So I spent that summer redoing this house, and it was a modest house, but I quadrupled the value of it and kept it for another couple. I think you had to keep it for 2 years. There was a minimum amount of time you had to keep it, but sold it for, a significant increase in value, and then bought another Lakewood double. And then, and there's all kinds of reasons for these things. Like, first of all, you're an owner occupant if you buy the Lakewood double and move into it, right? So your loan terms are different, all of those kinds of things. So, just sort of my own personal experience with real estate was that I really enjoyed it, and I really liked all different aspects of it. Sort of how to best do things. One of my things that I often will recommend to a start off investor, like I was at that time, is really just is to live in the house, because when you sell it, no, I'm not a tax advisor. I have to say this every time, but I personally did not have to pay taxes. It's capital gain, so so and there's a minimum amount of time. It's like 1 year for X number of dollars, realized, and then 2 years for whatever. And it matters if you're married filing jointly, married filing alone, or whatever, all those things. But it's a generous number that is not taxed when you live in the property and then sell it. So all of these gains that I would get were not taxed because I was living in the properties while I was fixing them up. And so then I sort of built um, my own little, real estate world, so to speak. And then I was home on maternity leave for with my second child from teaching. And by then I was living in Avon, and had, sort of bought my dream home with my husband at that time. And uh, I was home with that daughter and a 2-year-old, and they held my job for 2 years. And so I felt like I was comfortable, that we could do everything just so, and, make the bills and all that good stuff, for that 2 years. And I had just called a month before and given up my job, my tenured job, at the end of because I felt comfortable. We had 2 years of practice with that budget, right? With me being off. So then it was a month later that my husband came walking up the driveway one day from work. And long story, at that time, um, he was no longer able to work. And so I had to sort of figure out what was next for me and my family, and and I really was very motivated to keep the trajectory, keep the dream home that we had finally acquired, and to keep my kids, um, with their neighborhood friends, all those things, right? Like we had created a life. So I was like, okay, well, even if I got another teaching job, it was not going to do what it needed to do for my family. So I was like, well, I always loved real estate. I had just taken the classes sort of because I was going to do it sort of on the side as a something to do when I gave up my teaching job. So I'd already gotten the license, but I hadn't sold the thing, and you know what I mean? And that first year I was rookie of the year, not just for Ohio, but like multiple states. Like no one was anywhere near me because I was hungry. I was very hungry to, you know what I mean? Like I had to make this work. So I really just did, if somebody gave me a tip or a trick, I mean, I was doing what, maybe other people are doing right now, and that is watching podcasts, watching, any information I could get my hands on. I'm definitely a lifelong learner and I love to learn. So, I learned everything I could. Every seminar I could attend, everything I could learn, I did. And then I actually executed it, which is the harder part, right? It's not just taking the notes and saying, "Oh, this is what I should do." But if, but and one of those tricky things is sometimes you have to spend money on mailings. And that's really hard to do when you know what I mean? The income isn't and the outgoing isn't, but I'm going to say a thing here that's going to choke me up, and that is I bet on myself. And the best results I've ever had in my lifetime are when I bet on myself.
That's so cool, Kristen.
So I am I am proud of what I have created since then, which is this, beautiful team of agents who are, you know, I think happy to come to work every day. And we have so much fun and we love our lives and our work. And it almost doesn't even feel like work most of the time, which is awesome. It's like a dream. And it really is um, something that I feel very proud of having created this culture sort of in within my team.
No, Kristen, that's I need to stop and touch on how powerful that is as far as what that represents in terms of self-love and what that can mean as far as the difference between anybody, taking a concept that they're passionate about and excited about and backpedaling and swatting it away and moving on from it, or leaning into it, right? And in the coaching and things I've gone through, they've talked about this idea of limiting self-beliefs, that these are the stories we tell ourselves about what we are or are not capable of. And from the perspective that one of the reasons I do this interview series at all is what I call the trail of breadcrumbs concept. Nick, who's the producer on this show, is the singer in my band. And we do a show that sort of peeks behind the scenes of what we're doing as like an active performing band. But the same concept is in my mind of trail of breadcrumbs, right? Of saying like, for anybody who would ever hear this and have some vague notion of a thing that they want to do, that they are scared to try, scared to do, what you just touched on in terms of betting on yourself, it's not the first time I've encountered it, but it's a rare and such a powerful thing for people to overcome their negative imagination, to overcome logic, fear, all of these things, and have faith at a moment where the instrument that you're pointing your faith towards is you. And that's where again, I use the word self-love, or the term self-love, right? Is going like, that's impressive. It's an impressive thing to have been able to conjure up at that point. And I remembered when I said up front, I'm going like, yeah, I feel like I know your origin story. There is, because that hero's journey aspect of it, of course, hit my ears that way. And it is memorable. I didn't realize that there was I say practical foundation. I didn't remember that ingredient, that you'd owned a property by 24, that you were living in one half and renting out the other, that you'd taken those classes. That to me it brings another thing to mind, which is that idea of where, like, people talk about luck being a thing in the world, but it's the idea of where preparation intersects with luck. And luck feels inappropriate to even use in a way when you're talking about reacting to a scary kind of dire circumstance thing. The luck part is just that you had some of those tools in that moment to even call upon where you weren't truly at square one. But it's not like any of that was handed to you. It's like, so I almost want to go back a step further before moving on and go, what in the world compelled you to buying a property at 24? Like, that hit my ears too, of going, seriously, like, so you went to college, you were pursuing teaching, like, were you just like a good saver? Had you known other people that did that? Like, what, that's a ballsy move, I'll just say it.
No, it was my, I will attribute that to my future in-laws at the time said, take your wedding gift money and do not do an extravagant wedding. Take your wedding gift money. Do not buy furniture for a rental. Do not buy a better car. Spend it on a down payment for a house. And my my ex-husband's father-in-law was very handy, and he said he would be willing to, like, sort of help around the things that needed to be done around that house. It was a 100-year-old Victorian spectacular home, but needed. So so my brother-in-law at the time and my ex-husband's father were very handy and very helpful, and that did help. So can't take all the credit for that, but the a lot of the vision, actually all the vision past that was sort of how this was a great thing. Let's do it again. And then let's do it again. And then let's do it again. And to the point where, my family was like, I can't change your number anymore in my address book. Like, there's a hole from erasing. But every time we moved up. And we took those funds and applied them to the next. So it was sort of like taking the lesson about using the wedding gift money as a down payment, and using that and continuing to grow that, like apply it and apply it and apply it and apply it. Now, I will also say, though, you really only need, now I'm going to sound like a realtor though, but you can buy FHA for 3.5% down. So I believe the rule at that time was 5% down or something like that. But it was different then, the market is very, very competitive for buyers, which is why you need somebody really aggressively working for you too. And it was more of a balanced market at that time. So that contributed too. So there's the luck piece of it, right? Like, the timing was just right. The advice I got was just right. Taking the advice was helpful too, right? Like, everybody credit where credit's due. But then taking that and, extrapolating to sort of every other facet of real estate from that, first piece of, hey, buy your first house as soon as you can. It's the best thing you'll do.
Well, and you mentioned the Rookie of the Year achievements. I through our BNI relationship have had the pleasure of watching the 10-minute presentations. I've seen some of the posts. Please, will you brag about yourself a little bit? Like, you've since then been like top 1% nationwide. You're an award-winning achiever. Tell us about these things that you've done since then.
So I was licensed in 2006. So that's when this journey started, when my Ellie was 1. And so it's been a minute, but the trajectory has been pretty, very, very, I've been very happy with it. I started, I remember the first time I got top 5%, in the national rankings, and I was like over the moon. I think I still have business cards with, top for 5% in the nation. And then it was top 3%. And then and it's been top one for, I don't know, over 5 years for sure, but probably more like 8 or 10. It's been a minute. Um, and so a lot of that is, they do say that, X%, a small percentage of the agents sell a large percentage of the home. It's like 5% of agents sell 95% of the homes or something like that. Um, and so being in that top percent means that you are, what it means to me is that I'm known not only to the public as a realtor, so that, what's nice is my phone does ring. So you were bringing up earlier that, like, I don't really have to do all this like massive marketing and hustling and all that kind of thing, um because my name is known, and I'm selling their neighbor's house, and I'm selling this person's house, and they tell their friends or whatever. But that is the bulk of my business. That is where I get that is how I get my name out there, is signs and yards, but mostly people telling their friends, right? So I would never rest on any of these credentials, or any of this experience, and I really want to continue to do what I do to the best of my ability, and the and regardless of the value of the house that I'm selling or helping somebody buy. And I think that value system shows, and I think that people then tell their friends and their family, and that really has created what I've got here. Um, but the the trajectory has really just been, I think, me sticking to what is important, and that is making sure that my reputation with other realtors is good, meaning they know. So in a multiple offer situation, I like to believe that other realtors will see 5 offers, and one of them they'll see for me, and they'll say, oh, Kristen knows what she's doing. She's going to do her paperwork. She's going to do it on time. Her documents are actually going to be legally sound. Those kinds of things, because you can't believe what we see. Um, Kristen will know how to handle these situations, and will be able to maneuver through all of these difficult things that might come up in this transaction. Even if, sometimes I'll have 6 sellers, because somebody will pass away, and all 6 of the children will have equal part ownership in a $200,000 house in Brooklyn. And that is a and so then all of their spouses, though, have dower rights to it too, right? So now we've got 12 thinkers, 12
Opinions. Yeah.
opinions. So I was like, 10 sets of thoughts, 12 sets of thoughts, but yes, opinions. And the but on the other side of the transaction, the agent will be like, well, Kristen's got it handled. She'll know who the point person is. She'll know how to get everybody together and make sure everyone's on the same page, and get the documents signed when they need to get signed. So I think that that's important, is for people to know that I'm professional, and, I'm also not going to get emotional or crazy about a transaction. Like, I've seen other agents who are, sadly, can be hungry for a paycheck, and they'll try to hold a deal together at the cost sometimes of their client or something like that. You know what I mean? I hope that that's a rare occasion, but and I do love many, 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 most of my coworkers. But you see all these things, right? Like, you see the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so I think people know that I will do the right thing. Um, and that I will, of course, represent my clients first, though, which is my job.
I love it. And as far as that idea of, again, you made the comment of ways that you're not taking it easy, resting on your laurels, etc. Within that trajectory, where are you headed? What does the future look like? What are some things that what worlds are left to conquer, Kristen?
8 years ago, sort of late in life, I was blessed enough to have another baby. And so when that happened, when she graced my life, I um, at the year before that, I believe I'd sold 70 some houses by myself, no buyer's agent, no assistant, no anything. And I was pretty, like, I knew I could not keep that up, and that I was going to have to start it's to start getting help, right? Like to people to run buyers or whatever. So then that sort of forced me into, all right, Kristen, you can't do everything all the time. So I brought on, uh, I have brought on two additional agents onto my team since then. They're both family members, which is, I'm very blessed to have two family members that I, just completely trust. I know they're very, very smart, hardworking, motivated individuals, and we work together great as a team. So we're actually working on a video of us staging a house uh, with your marketing company. Hopefully, we'll put that all together for us. So um, anyway, the two agents I think will soon that work for me will soon be three, or with me, I should say, will soon be three additional agents, and then who knows? So I mean, there is an opportunity, and there always has been, right, to start your own brokerage. That's not for me. I really love the job that I do. I don't want to be management, right? I want to work for my clients. But I want to be able to do that, like, with enough attention and time for each individual client. Um, so having other agents that work with me as a team is really the way that I think is best for that. Um, if I ended up with 20 agents that worked with me, then we wouldn't really be this cohesive team, right? And then I would just be management. And I don't, that's not, that's not for me. So the trajectory could be all different kinds of things, but what I've decided is best for my personality and for what I want to see, the Kristen Eiermann group become, it's really going to probably stay five-ish agents or less, maybe six, somewhere in this, like, where I feel we are still a very cohesive, regularly communicating team, and we work together as a team. There's no, you know, and it's a funny thing to even see us work within our team and not even be competitive with each other. I mean, we're competitive with everybody else, but we're not competitive with each other. We really, we all have a vested interest in the success of the other, and we all help each other. And that is really important to me too, is to feel like, everybody feels like they get as much as they give, and all of that too. So that, I think that's probably our sweet spot as as my group. I have lending partners and a title partner that I'm really happy with. I have you know I have the best photographer that works for me in, like, the entire world. He does aerial photos, even of a small house or a rental property that I'm renting, that I'm helping somebody find a renter for. He'll come and he'll do all the pictures, and he'll do aerial shots, and he will create video if I want. I have him make floor plans for me, so that everybody can see the floor plan of the house in the listing. Like, what a great way. And the way he photographs is amazing. I can't talk enough about how great he is. But I feel like I have all of the people that I need assisting me to do the best job that I can do. So right now I'm really happy with where we are. And if there is to be growth, it will be, as needed, and it would look like, a couple few more agents, but chosen very, very carefully.
I love it. I love it. So you want to stay very close knit, and while welcoming and embracing growth and clearly putting all of the ingredients in play to allow for it. I'm also hearing you say that, yeah, you're not looking at a finish line where you're building some army, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, like that to your point, that gets you into a different realm of saying, now my real full-time job is just training and mentoring agents. And again, there's not anything fundamentally wrong with that either. But if you're getting joy out of this other experience, it's like,
No, there isn't. And so as a teacher, right. So as a teacher, I do love that. I mean, as a teacher, I love the training aspects and helping, mentoring, helping somebody grow. I love that. But I can't do that on a mass scale. I want to do it for one individual and watch them succeed. Like that, I'm so vested in that person's success. So, a couple quick things. Number one, over 90% of people who are licensed in real estate are not licensed 2 years later. Over 90%. So, and so why is that? And that is because it's really hard and nobody wants to trust somebody with no experience or no, you know what I mean? So when 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 I can see somebody who works, who gets licensed, starts working with me, and they create this incredible success, like Kira and I last year, Candace was starting. Kira and I did nearly 25 million in sales, just the two of us last year. So even if we have, if that's two of us and we have 6 agents, that's still not a small that's still not a small thing, right? To If we could create that level of growth, but with fewer people, right? Without this team concept where everybody sells just, 5 houses a year. That's not my vision. But my vision is for each one of these people to be incredibly successful. And so that's why it has to be the right people. They have to be at the right phase of their life where they have that kind of time to dedicate toward that level of work. This is kind of a 24/7 job. It's certainly a 7 job, I'll tell you that for sure. Deadlines don't care if it's a Sunday. Nothing on our contract says 3 business days. It says 3 days. And if that falls on a Sunday, it falls on a, you know what I mean? It's true though. So it's more like an 18/7, but it's a serious job, right? And so you have to be ready for it and you have to be willing to do all those things. So for me, it's meaningful to see each of those individual people become the best agent they could be and grow rather than, train, a classroom of people or mentor sort of sporadically a few people and then have them sell 5 houses a year, which maybe they would have anyway, or, maybe their 5 becomes 10 because of mentoring or whatever.
I hear you. There's like some inevitable heartache in that. You know what I mean? In that model where you're sort of going in the door, meeting this new classroom of, bright-eyed people going, 3 or 4 of you, or maybe 5 out of 6 will not be like, yeah, no, I hear you. That just, yeah, despite all your best efforts, it's, yeah, no, I wouldn't want that either. And I've talked about in terms of my own operation that it's like, yeah, I have human beings that are dependent upon me. I have animals that are dependent upon me. I have, friends and like people that they're not dependent, but that I certainly take on the responsibility of their emotional well-being, right? Like the people in my life, I do take that on, right? And so it's not a casual thing for me to bring new people into like the true inner circle, which certainly a relationship like that would be. Yeah, like it's not, even in terms of where I keep saying with my client base, I'm going, I can't be a volume business. I tried that when I started, where it was, 25, 30 clients that are maybe $200 here, $300 there. It's like, no, I want to help everybody. But once I've like gotten involved in somebody's story and I care about them, like they're going to take up so much of my time and attention. And it's like, no, it's not you, it's me. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't handle having 30 people that are all looking to me and going, save me. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, shit, I can't do it. Yeah.
Yes. You're just not built that way. I just use that phrase. I'm just not built. I'm not built for quantity. I'm built for
Yes.
quality. I'm built for, those really tight knit very loyal relationships and those, somebody you can count on, all those kinds of things. Doesn't mean I don't have lots of casual friends, same like you, but the people you let, in that inner circle or give that kind of time, attention, and energy, you want that to be reciprocal, and you want to vest fully, right? I always just say I'm not a half-asser. Like, I just don't like, I can't half-ass anything. Like, I could try to be like, oh, I'm just going to take this casually. I'm not built like that.
No, I love it, Kristen. I think the world of you as a human being. I think the world of you as a professional. I'm really grateful that you shared some time and insight today. Just on a closing note for anybody listening, where do you like to be found and engaged with for anybody who would want to engage with you as a professional?
So your best bet is to text me, 440-935-0993. Or my website is callkristen.com, callkristen.com. And my email is homes@callkristen.com. So any of those places, but your best bet is to text me or call me, and tell me what's going on and what you need, and I'll be there for you.
Amazing. And I forget that you own the callkristen.com. So cool. Well, fantastic. Thank you again.
Oh my gosh, my sister for relentlessly teasing me with.
I love it. I love it. Well, yeah, I look forward to an ongoing conversation in our world, and hope you'll come back down the road. I like the idea of asking about the future plans so that somebody can come back later and we can reference it and be like, how did that turn out? Because I like the idea that, like, sometimes it'll be what people expected, sometimes it won't be, but come back sometime and talk to me again.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.